Hi everyone, today I'm going to show you a RGP text-based game. This game will basically there's like a player, and also he will go into multiple dungeons, and when he finds like enemy, so that he can attack those enemy by fighting, or they can run away from the enemy. They can also have the button to open the chest if they find it inside the dungeons. And also there's many functions like generating new floor, generating new dungeons, and they all generated randomly. And I will go through each of these class to show you what the code is all about. And now let's go and see about the objects of the game first. And here, as you can see, there's like a canvas. This is all the canvas. And then before going into detail about this game, I just want to mention that probably I will just briefly explain it rather than just go in detail because of the time limitation. Alright, so here you can see this is the image of this logo, and there's like a main menu. Here is the start game button, the about button. So let me zoom in a bit, and also this is the quit button. So if you notice, you can see that this is gray out. The reason is that if we have it enabled, you will see like a duplicate scenes, duplicate objects. So that's why when we start the game, we just have the main menu to be activate. And the same goes to the play gameplay button. Here's the Dragon World. I will explain why this is 10 by 10, and this is the encounter class that will use the run, fight, exit, and open chest button. Okay, so what's next is play, item, and enemy. This will display information when we are playing game. It's on top of the screen. Alright, so this is the scroll view. This is the back button of inside these. So let me show you real quick what it's like rather than just describe it without any image. So this is the about. So when you see, you can see that this is the about page with all these game, what it's all about. And then this Lego user can actually click on this button to link it to the source where they found this. All the credit goes to the author, or the what we can say is the attributions. And this more attribution can be accessed here. When they click on it, it will link to the page where you can see it. And again, here is, let me disable this and then show you what the gameplay look like. So the gameplay here look like this, and it has like the wall control with the north, east, south, west, and the 4 button for the dynamic control. And here's what I just mentioned: the player, the items, and the enemy. And here item database, UI controller. These are the player state change. I will show you what this is inside the UI controller, which is located right here in this class. And again, this is just a load sound. So once the game is played, the player can actually listen to the background music of the game when it's running. Alright, so now let me go to the other folder. So this is the asset folder. So asset folder contain like the images. These are the images I use, and also with the icon and flash screen for the both Android and iOS. Alright, so the raw sources, this is the logo that I created on my own. So there's no public credit or anything, it's just my own logo. And this is the script, contain all this information. And sounds is the background music for the game. All right, this is the streaming asset. So streaming asset, rather than just naming it to the data, I need to use this just because the streaming data is the default one for Unity. So I would not want to change it to data folder. So here's we have all quick view look inside this Unity. So this is actually the folder that contain all this information as well. So it's inside the assets folder. The same goes like all this information, raw sources. So if you notice, you can see that there are like a dot meta. So this information is used to store when I make changes inside the Unity, and this will upload it to, let's say, GitHub or Bitbucket Extra. And this is the scene. So when we want to open like these projects inside the Unity, we can double click on this file. This called scenes. And yeah, this is the screenshots. So all the screenshot I will use, and also the publishing screenshot. So this screenshot I use it to upload it to the Google Play Store. Okay, so I think that's basically it. And also the changelog and license I will show you in a minute onto the GitHub. Now let me take a few minutes to explain you what the source code is all about. Okay, so I have it open onto the Visual Studio. Okay, so this is the source code of the Dragon World game, and as you can see, this is the character class. If you can see, there's more than like 10 classes inside this game, and we use something called the inheritance or polymorphism, so it's not stay inside just one class. This is all about the OOP or object-oriented programming. All right, so here this is the character class that contain the property like energy, maximum energy, attack, defense, goal. So this is just a base class, or we can call it as a parent class that will be used by the child class or derived class. So here inside this class we have the dungeon index, the inventory or the items, and then here's the take damage. So I won't go in detail talking about this. I just briefly explain it what it's like. Now let me go to the other class, which is the player class. Alright, so this is player class that, as you can see, this is inherit from the character class and the path JSON string or the floor. So this basically all working with the external data and in JSON file. So I will talk about it. It's right here. But before getting into it, I just want to show you this the current or the information that is stored, the current location of the player, and then here's the encounter. So for the purpose of having like serialized field, it can be accessible inside the inspector. Okay, so like this is the for the JSON file, we just get the path from that. Here this is the streaming assets path, and then this is the file name. We are located inside the asset here, and then this player.json file. Okay, so this read all file from the path, and then it's stored inside the JSON string, which is defined over there. And now we get from the JSON file and stored inside the game player, and eventually we lock it onto the player. This is just an example for the attack. It is showed in the console of the Unity, and this is the inventory list, dungeons. All right, so here the dungeon we have the X and Y. So because this is like a 2D array, So we have the X and Y. Okay, this is the UI controller that I will talk later. It's inside this class. And we have the move function that user can actually move in 4 direction, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video. And here, this is just a map view, have all of this 10 by 10 grid. And here the move north, move east. So here it's inside the player, and then the north, east, south, west. So when we look closely, we can see that the north use the move function right here. It's inside the player and move. So 0 indicate the north until the west, which end in 3. So yep, as you can see right here, I explain everything on as well. So let's say when the user press on the north button, the vector 2 or the array, it will just go up and right, down or left. Determine the location. So this function, what it does is like it just to determine where the current user is. So just to determine whether the current user is inside an empty dungeon, or the current player is found the new chest, so that they want to open the chest to get some sort of items or any goals extra. And this is the enemy, also the exits, so they can actually exit to the next floor for the new dungeons. And the add item inside this database, item database, so I will talk about that later as well. And this take damage, die, and this will log onto the console. So the system serialize, this is the player JSON. So this actually connected on top of the JSON file right here. Okay, so now let's go to the other one, which is the enemy class. Enemy class, again, it inherits from the character class with the description, take damage, and it will update the enemies using inside this UI controller. And there's die function, again going to the other one, which is the dragon. The enemy inherit from enemy, so enemy inherit from character. So as you can see, this is the use of inheritance. So we have like path string, which is similar to the player class that get information from the dragon JSON file. So now let me show you real quick what's inside the dragon edit with Notepad++. Here's the information contained inside this the dragon.json file. So what's like inside the player class, here we have this information. So user can actually easily change all this information rather than having like the static data that store inside the game. So they can change it with this external data or external file format in JSON file. And now let's continue. Have the information similarly to the evil spirit. So what's the difference between dragon and evil spirit is that the information inside here is quite a bit different. So let me show you this inside the JSON file. So all the informations are different here. All right. Okay, so what's next is the dungeon. Okay, so this is the dungeon class that we'll create like a random dungeon for the gameplay, so that it's to avoid the repetition rather than just having the same thing happen again and again. So this is the function, as you can see, the random.range, and it's all the information here. I think the time is all up. Okay, so now let me quickly go through the other, which is the dragon world. Alright, so again, this is the 2D array that will store information about the dungeons. And here grid.x and grid.y. So now let me go back to the Unity. and here you will see the Dragon World, and here I define the 10 by 10 grid. Alright, so this is the generate floor that will randomly generate floor for the user to play. I use this nested loop for if one is for the grid and the other one is for the Vive. Gains, this the finding exit that takes seconds, so this is just a function. Let's say when the user go to any dungeons, and then if they find like a new floor, then just wait for a few seconds. So that's this YEL keyword will be using with this coroutine that I will define here as well. And here if define like an exit and then true, if not false, and it's just a debug.log that will debug inside the Unity to see what's like. And now the other thing is the item database. So item database will store information about the items. So here we have the information we have here, like only 2. So if you notice, you can see that it's not coming from the external file. It's actually stay inside here. This is just the default value for the game. And here we check if the instance not null or instance, meaning this item database is not null, and then we just destroy it. So we don't want to have like 2 copies of the instance or the game objects, so we need to destroy it, just to delete. And again goes to the enemy database. Similarly, the same thing happen. All right. Okay, so next is the journal.cs. So journal.cs, this is for the will be used inside the player class and also inside the encounter class to display information to the user. And this is the same thing. So now let's see what the references is. So here has 18 references. So let's say the player attacked, and then here's the information coming from the variable, and then just display the damage, and here's the information whether it is 3 or 5 or whatever. So all this information will display to the user, and this is the goes to the new line, otherwise the information will display without any breakpoint. Okay, so the last but not least is the UI controller. UI controller will define the event for the unit that include inside the enemy player or the items that information is updated, and then all of the class here will display it onto the user like in real time. So I use here this delegate keyword. This is the method signature, which means that once we define this, we can use it multiple times. In this case, it used more than once, as you can see, with the same name, but what's different is the name that we use this method variable. And it's the for the enemy. Okay, so let's say if the player stats change when the current player is attacked by, like, let's say the enemy, or is maybe going to like open a chest and then they see like a trap. So all this information will change, and then it just add all those information inside the player state change, and it will be called by using this update handler or event handler. The same goes to the items and enemy, and this is the function that update the player state. So this will display the player that has energy, how many attack, defense, and same here with the energy, defense, update. All right, so what's next, which is this one, this the last one, the hyperlink. So let's say when user click on the first button, it will link to the source. It's all about the inside the legal, the about page inside the legal section. This the second link, the third link will link here, and here is the flash screen. So when I press on the preview button, we can actually what it's like with the Unity logo, and actually we can change it to any style, but I won't do it right now. And here's the flash screen for all screen sizes of the iPhone and iPad. Alright, so now let me play the game to see how this game works. And as you can see, this is the main menu of the game, and there are three buttons: the start button, the about, and the quit button. And you can also listen to the background music while you are playing the game. Alright, so now let me press on the about button before going to the start button. So this is the about button, like the logo of the game, and the about, this is the about game, and is all information about this game, what's the purpose of this game, etc. And this is the legal section, the information or the images that have been used, and it's need to be credited, and what for the images, the background music I use here are all legal, and I included all this information and link. Actually, when I press on this button, it will link to the page where I get all this image from, as you seen here. Alright, now let me go back to the game, and now press on the back button. You can see, and it's the quit button. So the quit button won't work inside the Unity, but it will work inside the real device, whether it's on iOS or it's on the Android operating system. Alright, so as you guys can see, this is the menu of the gameplay. So I have already muted the audio so that you can listen to it carefully and probably clearly, easily. And now let's see what this game really does. Okay, so here is the 8 button, and to start the game, the player can actually press on this 4 button. So once I press on the north button, you can say that the player is in an empty dungeon. So actually the current player is in an empty dungeon. There are nothing to do. All the buttons are disabled now. Okay, so now again, let me press on the same button again. The same thing happens. Alright, so now here you can see that there's no way to go because it's on top of the first dungeons inside the grid, which is 1 X and 1 Y. Alright, so now let me move. Here is the you face an enemy, which is the dragon, and what you want to do now. Okay, so as you can see, this is the player button that have 25 player status, 25 energy, 15 attack, 6 defense, and 0 gold. And this is the dragon, which if we face right now, 20, 8 attack, and 5 defense, and it's the item. Okay, so there's 2 buttons that are enabled now. The first one is fight, and the other one is run, or to avoid the enemy. Okay, so now let me press on the fight button. Okay, so as you can see, you attack 2 damage. So I have already attacked 2 damage, and enemy 0 attacked. So I'm gonna do it again. Alright, so now finally you can see that you have killed a dragon, and now look for the dead enemy, which is the dragon, and you find that there's a wing, and also there's a 15 energy, 15 gold. Alright, so once I press again, the status have been changed, and here's the 15 gram, 15G or 15 gold. So here I face an enemy dragon again, and what I want to do now, you attack 8 damage. So before it was 20, and now it's become 12 because I attack like an 8 damage, and enemy attacked me 1. Okay, so it's -1, and now again attack 2. Alright, so here you can see 10, and now what I want to do, I want to escape the fight, or I can press on this button, which is the run button. So as you can see, once I press on the run button, the enemy status have been disappear, and I actually avoid a fight. Okay, so taking no damage. So sometimes the damage can take more or less, but in this case 0 damage. So now let me press on the other button, move south. Okay, so finally the player or I have found a chest, and what I want to do now, I open the chest, and these 3 button actually disable now, and click on this open chest. Alright, okay, so in the chest there's a trap, and you actually took 3 damage. Alright, so move north west in an empty dungeons. Alright, nothing here, no more I can go. Now let me go east. Wow, there's a lot of empty dungeons. Finally found one chest. What I want to do now, I click on this. Okay, so now I found a crown and then 75 gram. Okay, so this is what I found, and let me move south. Oh, finally I faced another enemy, which is the dragon. What I want to do, so this dragon has 10 enemy, 10 energy, 8 attack and 5 defense. I want to fight. You attack 7, so now there are 3 left, and enemy attack me only 1. Alright, not bad. Face an enemy. Okay, so finally the previous enemy, which dragon, so I have already killed it, and I find inside the body, and I find there's a wing. Okay, and 15 gold, and I now have faced another one. I want to escape. Okay, so here's okay, so I found an exit and move to the next one. Now press on, you found an enemy. Okay, so I want to fight. I kill it, and then I got an eye, and then 20 gold. So let me press it again. Okay, here I got 20, and I avoid a fight. Move east. Find enemy, I want to fight. Okay, so basically this game is generated randomly, so actually we don't really know what happened next, because it's not a hard-coded game. All of those games getting from the random functions randomly generated every time the player playing, whether it's face an enemy. We don't know what enemy comes next, because it can be dragon, or it can be the evil spirit, even though the dungeons they contain a chest. So inside the chest there are multiple things, like the trap is healing, or whether it is like a goal, or it can face an enemy inside the chest as well. So this come with all random things. We don't know what's happening. So this is what the main feature of this game. Empty dungeons. Okay, so finally, as you can see, you can exit to the next floor. What you want to do, I already escaped it. I press on the different directions, so you wouldn't see it, so that I can show you what it's like to go to the next floor, because it all randomly generated, as I mentioned several times. Alright, so now let's have a quick look on the GitHub. You can see that all this information about the game, this is the description of the game, and here is the readme file. I include everything here. You can see even though the picture, the image, and also the information, the unit chair name, his Henry, Okay, so here is the source tree tutorial that link to GitHub and the game platform. It can run both using the Unity, and then the projects link, again this is the project link so included here. Software required to compile with Unity. It can be any version actually. Okay, step to compile the Dragon World here are listed here, and explanation of the major features that the game contain, and this is the API reference to major public and the public class and method. And you can also find it here as well. It will link to a Google Drive. Okay, so this is the information about the projects. These are the project planning. So it's on page 29. All right, so this is the API. You can have a quick look, and here's the sample. Now let me go back, and you can also see this the dynamic orientation and resolution setting. So I use the GIF GIF image file to show you how to set all this to set the different skin size for orientation and resolution. Alright, same for slash screen and the icon. And here's the comment coming from my unit chair. Alright, so I will also show you what's inside. Here is the change log. Alright, change log is what I've been working on with the date and the version as well. Okay, so this is the license I have so far, and all these categories are the same as I showed you before. And this game has now been uploaded to the Google Play, and here's the information about it. I go to the play edit, and then preferences and external tools, and here you can see this is the link to the Android SDK or Android Studio, and then this is the JDK for the Java development kit. And when I go to this file and then build settings, so here's inside the Android, and when I press on the player settings, so this is the information about the Android, and here this is just the name and then the application name, or this minimum API requirement. Alright, with the icon, flash screen. So the reason why I'm not upload it into the App Store is because we need to pay it's like $99 per year. So for the Android, it costs about $25 only once. So if you want to keep in touch with me, you can probably go to my LinkedIn account. So this is my the information about me. As you can see, this is all my experience, everything I work on. So yeah, you can contact me through LinkedIn account if you want.